Hey boys, it's HarmNone. This week, we got several different money bonuses going on in GTA Online that we can take advantage of. However, some of them are significantly better than others. So we're going to be talking about which ones you should actually be running this week to make the most money while also having as much fun as possible. If you enjoyed the video or find it useful, consider dropping a like and subscribing if you guys are new. I do these videos every single week. And getting started right off the bat with the weekly challenges this week. Now there are two separate weekly challenges depending on the version of GTA that you're playing on. So if you're on Enhanced, there's one, and if you're on Legacy, there's another. Both of them are paying $100,000 respectively though, so that is pretty good. Now if you're on Enhanced, the weekly challenge this week is going to be to complete a round of old school hits, which is a new mission that's been added to GTA Online this week, and it's also on 4 times money and RP, so that's pretty cool. And it is featuring some of the new mission creator tools that ROCKSTAR have recently added to the game, so that's neat. Now, if you're on Legacy, the weekly challenge this week is going to be to win 2 open wheel class races, which is a much harder challenge. However, if you have someone to play with, you guys can win trade to get this done. So you're going to win one, they're going to win one, you're going to win one, they're going to win one. That's how you do it. Now, a tip for this is to set the laps to 5, which is typically the minimum in open wheel, so that you can get the races done faster. Now, those open wheel races are also on bonus money. We're going to talk about that in just a couple minutes. But before we get into that, we're going to talk more about the community mission series. Now, this is on 4 times money and RP, and old school hits is actually pretty fun. I just ran through this for this gameplay in the background that you guys are seeing right now, and this mission really felt like OG GTA Online, which I thought was pretty cool. It took me about 15 minutes to do the mission, and I was paid $72,000 for completing it. Now, I'm not gonna lie and say that that's like the best money ever. Honestly, I was kind of expecting more money, especially being that this is on 4 times money in RP. However, it's not the worst money ever, I would say, and it definitely could have been worse. I would recommend trying this out this week at least once, especially if you're an OG player like me. You're probably gonna kind of like the mission. I think it's pretty fun, and it kind of reminded me of the good old days in GTA. So I think it's worth running at least once. If you're a newer player, it won't mean as much to you probably, but I still thought it was pretty fun, pretty neat. Now up next, the best bonus of the week is going to be on payphone hits. Now, these used to pay $85,000 every single time you completed one, but they also had a 48-minute cooldown. However, this was changed quite a while ago, so now there's a 10-minute cooldown between payphone hits, but you're paid $45,000 for completing them. So it's technically more money per hour, but it's less money per mission, which a lot of people didn't really love. However, this week it's going to be on 3 times money, which means you're going to get $135,000 per mission that you complete successfully, and if you achieve all the requirements and everything like that. Now, there's 8 different payphone hit missions that you can possibly get, and some of them are easier than others, but also a couple of those are only going to spawn if you have multiple players in your CEO or your MC when you're doing them. Now, of course, with payphone hits, you can wait for them to spawn in naturally, and a payphone will just start ringing somewhere near you. Or, of course, if you're trying to make money as fast as possible with this, you're going to want to be calling Franklin on the phone as much as you can and requesting a payphone hit. Now, when you do this, I recommend being close to one of the payphone hit spawn locations, being close to a payphone, so that it cuts down on the travel time of going to the payphone in between missions and everything like that. It'll help to make you a little bit more money a little bit faster. Now, whichever payphone hit you get, simply complete it as quickly as you can, but be sure to pay attention to the requirements that each mission is going to have. Some of them are going to want you to use a specific weapon or take somebody out in a specific way. Make sure you do that because it's going to be very important. That's the only way you're going to get the bonus on the mission, which is actually going to make up like the majority of the pay, to be honest. So make sure you're doing that. Take advantage of payphone hits. They're going to be a really good way to earn some money this week in GTA Online. Now, on top of all of this, we also have 3 times money on time trials this week. And honestly, this is a bonus that is very difficult to take advantage of due to how challenging a lot of the original time trials are. I don't know about you guys, but I think the time trials are quite challenging, especially being used to the HSW ones now. But I find even using HSW vehicles on the OG time trials, you still struggle to do them. And this week, the normal time trial is down Chiliad, which is an extremely difficult one as it is. So thanks, ROCKSTAR, for putting triple money on this, but also giving us like the hardest time trial. Honestly, I don't even recommend attempting it, but if you are going to, I recommend using a motorcycle. I think it's probably going to give you the best chance to win, but it's just a very difficult time trial to do. So honestly, this is something you may want to consider skipping this week. It's a shame you're going to miss out on that $300,000, but honestly, it's so hard to do this one that I just don't even think it's worth trying, to be honest. Now, a decently fun way to make money this week is going to be using the open wheel races. Now, these are on triple money this week. So even if you play solo, you can actually make a decent amount of money doing these races. I raced by myself and I managed to make $55,000 in about 13 minutes of racing, which isn't terrible. However, if you play with other people, this number is going to scale drastically. I would say if you place first or second, you could probably make upwards of $120,000 per race you do in the open wheel category, which is pretty sweet. Now, open wheel races are also a lot of fun as well, and I kind of feel like they've been neglected over the years, but they're really cool due to the fact that you have to go for pit stops and tire changes and things like that. So I definitely recommend giving open wheel a shot this week. I think it's a lot of fun. Now, the HSW time trial this week is going to be Pacific Bluffs to Mount Gordeau. This starts at the Courts building, and this is actually one of the more challenging HSW time trials, largely due to the start of the time trial, because you're going to need to get down to the main road, and it's kind of a toss-up as to which way you should go. Now, I personally recommend going left around the gigantic wall that kind of covers the corner up to the Courts building here, and you're going to go down through the sort of mountainous terrain a little bit until you can get to a road. That's one way to do it. The other way you could do it is try to get through into somebody's backyard and out onto the road that way, but finding a route might take you a little bit of time. However, once you're out of the sticky situation that is the start of this time trial, it's relatively easy. There's a lot of long sweeping corners that are not very sharp. You can carry your speed super well for a lot of this time trial. Now, it does get a little bit tricky as you approach Fort Zancudo. There is like one or two big corners you're going to have to take, but then after that, you're just going to head towards Harmony and Sandy Shores. And once you pass the church, you're going to cut the left there, and you're going to go along the route that is closest to the Alamo Sea all the way to the town of Sandy Shores and then past that. Once you get to the turnoff to go towards Grapeseed, you're going to hit that left, and then you're going to take the immediate next right on the paved road towards the lighthouse, and you're going to go down to the end of that road. You're going to come to the bridge to cross over to the lighthouse, go over there, and that is going to be your HSW time trial completed, and that's going to be $250,000. Now, for this time trial, I recommend using the Banshee GTS or the Hakuchu Drag. I pretty much recommend those like every week, but I think they're going to give you the best chance to make this nice and easy for yourselves and make your money as quickly as you can. Once you got it done, $250K, not a bad way to earn some money this week for sure. Overall, this is an interesting week. I think that the payphone hit bonus is really good. It would have been a lot better probably if they never nerfed payphone hits, but I don't know, maybe it's a toss-up. I don't know, it might be better, it might be worse, who knows. But that's definitely the number one bonus to take advantage of this week, so that's what I recommend doing. Don't skimp out on the open wheel races though either. They are a lot of fun, so give them a shot this week for sure. But with that being said, that's pretty much it for how to make millions of dollars this week in Grand Theft Auto Online. I really hope you enjoyed the video. Leave a like if you did, subscribe if you guys are new, and with that being said, I'll see you guys in the next one. Till then, take care. Peace.